WandaVision episode 7 has just released on Disney Plus, and I've had a chance to watch the episode, which includes some big reveals, Marvel Easter eggs, and more to break down. In particular, I'm going to be explaining the plot and ending for WandaVision episode 7, entitled Breaking the Fourth Wall, in the aim to help you guys gather a greater sense of what happened. This analysis will also contain spoilers, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't watched episode 7 of WandaVision, then I would recommend watching this video after you've caught up. If you want to see more videos on all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to give it a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into my breakdown and explained video for episode 7 of WandaVision. So after last week's spooktacular Halloween episode, WandaVision gets even creepier, confirming a long-held theory about Catherine Hahn's Agnes and revealing the truth about what's been going on in Westview. But before all of that, there's plenty of analysis to get to. Last week, in Wanda's last-ditch attempt to save Vision from destruction and the Sword Agents, she made the Hex even larger. But that expansion, of course, came at a cost, with the sitcom reality malfunctioning around her in this week's episode. Wanda herself is feeling down, thrown by the arrival of her fake brother Pietro and Vision's betrayal, taking to her bed and ignoring her kids while everything in her home malfunctions and flips back through the previous decades. And while Wanda is in quarantine, it's also a good opportunity for the show to get deeper into the emotional problems she is still going through. They do get into a bit of this, and it was definitely better for it. In fact, this week's sitcom riff, a take on mockumentaries like Modern Family and The Office, down to the Wanda opening credits, helps achieve this in a good way, with both Wanda and Vision able to realise the unseen camera crew in fourth wall-breaking segments that keep some of the laughs while also providing more colour to the emotional subplots. At times this does become too on the nose, especially with some of the more predictable reveals, but in other moments it works really well. Basically, Wanda is depressed as referenced by this week's commercial, which is based off some sort of depressant medication and just wants to be alone. "I'm starting to believe everything is meaningless," she tells her kids, and is more than happy for neighbour Agnes to come and take the kids off her hands. "I don't understand what's happening, why it's all falling apart, and why I can't fix it. Do you think it's maybe what you deserve?" an eerie voice from the supposedly unseen director replies. Well, we'll soon find out who that director really is. Meanwhile, her husband is having his own troubles. Waking up in Westview's new circus and mistaken for a clown by a strongman, Vision is able to reunite with the sitcom version Darcy, a pitch-perfect Kat Dennings, who is one of the few characters to be essentially the same whether she's an escape artist or an astrophysicist. They steal a van together and head back home as Vision is filled in on the events of Avengers Infinity War on the way. Vision remembers none of it, and interestingly, he considers himself a different person to the one those things previously happened to. But he's struck with sympathy for what Wanda's been through, especially considering it was all within the last few weeks from Darcy's perspective. And while she can't explain why he deconstructed outside of the Hex, Darcy has another bit of information for him. "I've been watching WandaVision for the past week, and the love you two have is real." This is probably my favourite moment of the episode because alongside it being a comedic reference to everyone watching WandaVision, it really continues the strength of Vision's character from last week, through his current mental struggles. We're seeing a character who can't piece everything together, but at the same time he really cares for Wanda, even though she is making these rash decisions under someone else's influence. I wanted a lot more of this, but hopefully as we get into the last few episodes, we can see more of this complexity with Vision addressed. But outside the Hex, Darcy's friends Jimmy and Monica make their own discoveries, learning Sword director Hayward's motives in that he was trying to bring Vision back online and he wants his sentient weapon back. After finding this out, they finally collect the special vehicle created for them by their mysterious aerospace engineer. After a lot of build-up and fan theorizing, the person they meet isn't actually anyone interesting, instead just represented by a character called Major Goodner. Maybe this character is a Skrull like some are suggesting, and maybe Reed Richards will still turn up in another episode, but for now, it doesn't look like that's the case. In any case, Goodner is able to provide them with the specialized space rover they need to break through the Westview anomaly, resulting in one of WandaVision's best visual sequences yet. As the rover dramatically smashes its way into the Hex and is pushed back into a half-transformed car, Monica makes a drastic decision, pushing herself through the Hex without any protection at all. As she does so, we see different aspects of her identity splinter off from her, while dialogue from her childhood, including a few words of wisdom from Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, echo around her. It's a psychedelic sequence that shows the potential the show has, and it also appears to have rewritten Monica's cells once again, giving her the energy-based powers of her comic book counterpart, Photon. Still, the powers don't help her much when she finally confronts Wanda. Instead, drawing on the memories of her mother Maria, who died during the blip caused by Thanos, she reasons to her as a grieving person, trying to help Wanda stop hiding from her pain. I can't control this pain anymore, and I don't think I want to, because it's part of my truth, she says, resisting Wanda's attacks while the Westview neighbours, including Dottie, watch on. It seems like she's getting through until Agnes swoops in, taking control of the moment and taking Wanda back to her home. But when she gets there, the trouble is just beginning. Inside the home of Agnes, Wanda notices a strange vibe. Her sons are missing, and Agnes suggests they might be playing in the basement, but that basement is a lot more old and creepy than you'd expect for a modest suburban home. Plus, all the howling wind, creeping tree roots and vines and spellbooks don't make things any more obvious. Because it turns out Agnes isn't just any old neighbour, she's a character fans have been theorising about for a long time and seems to have been pulling the strings all along. Wanda, you didn't think you were the only magical girl in town, did you? She says, unfurling her own brand of purple magic. The name's Agatha Harkness. Lovely to finally meet you, dear, she adds before we go into her own theme song and eventually many flashbacks. In these flashbacks, we see Agatha turning up at the Vision residence, creating Pietro and all other sorts of mischief while the song plays on. Who's been pulling every evil string? It's been Agatha all along, is the refrain. And just in case we didn't know she was a villain, she reveals that she killed Wanda's dog Sparky a few weeks ago. So the episode ends with Agatha once again putting Wanda under her influence, with this time us clearly knowing who she is. Shockingly, however, it doesn't end there, because after the episode ends, there's a brief post-credit scene this week too, where we see Monica arriving at the house of Agnes and getting ready to enter the basement. As she is about to, she is surprised by a creepy Pietro, who's presumably under Agatha's control, in which he says, "Snooper's gonna snoop." So I guess we'll find out how this confrontation will go down next week, alongside hopefully some more reveals that are more unexpected. But that was my brief breakdown video explaining the plot and ending for episode 7 of WandaVision. I thought this latest episode was much better than last week's, simply because there was more plot progression and they emphasised more of the emotional context within all the comedy and scenes that were presented. We see Wanda and Vision's differences when it comes to mental difficulties, reveals that although were probably the weakest part, still worked in moving things along. And there are many questions going into the last few episodes. Is Wanda more witchy than we realised? And what are Agatha's plans for her? Will Vision get to his wife in time after leaving Darcy on the road? What are Monica's new powers apart from the cool glowy eyes? And what is Hayward's plan of attack? And where have Billy and Tommy gone? At last, we're not far away from answers, even if a few of those answers will be that it was Agatha all along. We'll have to see, but I'm hoping that the final 2 episodes will really capture the stakes and bring everything that has been developed emotionally together. I'm giving episode 7 of WandaVision a 7.5 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown and review, and overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in episode 8 of the new Marvel show, which I will be covering on the channel next week. I'm also intrigued to hear all of your thoughts on episode 7, so let me know down below in the comment section, as well as listing your predictions for episode 8. For more content on WandaVision, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating. I am covering every episode of Season 1 alongside bringing constant updates on all the new Marvel shows, so make sure to keep a lookout for whenever I post. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.